Today we're going to answer two questions for you. Why would a celebrity like Jermaine Dupri have his own social media network? And why should you care? Before we do that, I'm going to show a very quick video that will explain a little bit more about what Global 14 is all about.
Let's be honest. Just because you know somebody from school or work doesn't mean you like what they like. See, on Facebook, everybody is your friend, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because in the real world, that's not how it works. Now, I know you're sitting there saying, but why should I sign to a new social network when I'm already a part of this, that, Twitter, Instagram, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. If it's getting too difficult for you, you can always go back to MySpace. I created Global 14 for people with the same likes as me, like music, art, fashion, cars, girls, new technology, video games. Did I say girls? I get hundreds and hundreds of messages every day on my YouTube and Twitter page from people from all around the world asking me, JD, will you listen to my music? If you really wanted me to listen to your music, you would be on Global 14. That simple. All you gotta do is go to global14.com and sign up.
And today, Global 14 consists of about 40,000 brand advocates for Jermaine Dupri. Now, if you wanted to build a relationship with your fans and your audience before Global 14, once upon a time, you had to work through gatekeepers. And I think we all know who those gatekeepers are, traditional news media or big record companies. They stood in the way between you and your fans, and you had to work through them to start developing that kind of relationship. But we all know that digital disrupted the gatekeeper relationship. And with the rise of social media, artists and producers and executives like Jermaine Dupri found a new way to build a direct relationship with their audience, as this quote from Bob Lefsetz, I think, shows in a very compelling way. There's only one problem. Social media has brought about a new era of gatekeepers. We know them as Twitter, Facebook, Google+. If you want to be building your brand on any of those platforms, you have to play by their rules. And their rules are not always very friendly to both individuals and brands. So, Jermaine Dupri in January of 2011 decided to create his own community where he could set his own rules, where he can focus on building relationships with a smaller but more impassioned community. So JD, what I'm going to do at this point is ask you, talk a little bit more about Global 14, who's on it, and why you build it, and what you get out of it.
All right. Hello, everybody. First of all, I built this because, as he said, it was hard to distinguish what our fans actually were. I started making records and started my record company, So Def, at 19. And in that early age of making music, sounds like an early age, but yeah, in my early age of making music, the record company always would tell me that they would take our music to these focus groups. And I'm like, who is the focus group? Who is this? Who are these people? And they'd tell me if the focus group didn't like my music, or if the focus group thought it was gonna be big. But they used this fictitious, I think it's fake, but they always said they took the music to a focus group. I hope they wasn't lying, but for some reason, I never saw these focus people, and as I got older, I still never seen these focus people, right? So it wasn't like frustrating, but it's like you never really got an opportunity to see and feel exactly what your core fan base was. And then you go into meetings when you make more business and people ask you, you know, what is your core fan base, and you know, how widespread do you think the fan base is, and what's the age groups and all of this type of stuff. And if you're just an artist and a producer like I was, you usually don't know these things. And even as the owner of the record company, I didn't know. I mean, you could tell from what we saw visually and what we saw coming to concerts and whatever, but it was never a situation where we actually really knew who was buying the music, who didn't like the music or whatever. So that was one thing. And then as time grew on, I became like the president of Virgin Records. And I was on MySpace, and I thought that MySpace was the greatest place that I ever been because you saw people and you had friends and whatever and this, that, and the third. So I said one day, we was in a meeting, I said we should create this contest for Janet Jackson where her fans can draw the artwork for her album cover. And it was an incredible idea because her fans felt engaged and they felt like for the first time that they were listened to or someone was talking to them from her fan base, you know, that was really telling them like, hey, we see what you're doing on the internet. Let's take what you're doing on the internet and share it with the rest of the world. So I thought I had just come up with the best thing in the world.
So you're basically crowdsourcing an album cover.
Yeah, I crowdsourced the album cover. And from there, Virgin basically came back to me and was like, it's a great idea, it's great, blah, 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 blah. And then the next day they came back and said, but we can only make this contest US. And I'm like, what? This is Janet Jackson, this is Virgin Records, Richard Branson, what the hell is going on, right? So, long story short, they couldn't figure out the legal works to make this contest global. So that's how I got to the word Global 14 because my frustration in that contest made her fans actually think that I was destroying her record. I didn't know what I was doing as the president, blah, 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 blah. And I was basically the only person that was so connected to the internet and the fans and the record company. But people didn't see it like that. They saw that Jermaine Dupri just didn't know what he was doing and he couldn't, you know, facilitate the kids in Europe and Germany and everywhere else and, you know, everywhere else that wanted to be a part of this contest. So that was the beginning of my frustration. The second part of my frustration was when Twitter came. I thought Twitter was something else that you could once again, as a person that creates artists, this would be just a place where those fans actually home, and you would talk to those people that are totally interested in what you are putting out and what you put out. If they don't like it, y'all have a conversation about it. I thought that that's what it was. Then I realized that everybody could see what you're saying, and if you say something crazy, it turns into news, and it goes to TMZ, and it's all over the place, which that's not what I thought this was. So once again, that frustration made me go into saying, I can create my own social network. One, because Twitter showed me that everything that I tweeted or whatever would become public information to the world, as well as kids was on Twitter saying, I'll cut off my arm if you follow me. I'm like, what? What does that mean? Like, why would you do that, and what's the purpose? And I just started realizing, I just started watching the trend of how people really were falling for this follow thing. They wanted me to follow them so bad they would say anything and say crazy stuff. So I was just like, if I could figure out a way to get these people that want me to follow them to come to my place and actually really, really have a full conversation with me every day and see exactly what it is that I'm doing, and I can see exactly what they're doing, we can create a different space than what they actually have. And what it was I just noticed that these kids wanted a place that felt like theirs, and we all don't have the same interests, you know what I mean? Like as I said in that video, when you go to Facebook and you find a friend that you went to school with, great, you went to school with him. But I don't mean like he likes Star Wars or she likes cars or the things that you like, that person that you went to school with, y'all probably don't even like the same thing. So then what makes it good for y'all to be friends? You know, just because you went to school with them is the reason that they say that you should be friends. And I'm not really trying to be friends with people I went to school with that don't like the stuff that I don't like, or we don't have no conversation. So basically, I just created a space that homes people with the same likes. If you enjoy this and this and this and this, you will find a person there that enjoys that same thing, and it all becomes a great place. And you all have a conversation about it, as opposed to you just posting pictures and looking and thinking and whatever. It's really a conversation to know, hey, I don't like this music. I don't like Mariah Carey. I hate her, and blah, 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 blah. And you start seeing, if somebody says that on my site, you don't like Mariah Carey, well, this is kind of a place where she's at, so you should leave.
Yeah.
Go to Facebook or something. Go wherever you want to go. But this is, and I tell people all the time, it's not really about having so many followers and all of this big, great number, because as I learned on Twitter, I'm over 500,000 followers on Twitter. I can't follow all of those people, neither can I talk to them every day. I wanted a place where I could actually have a conversation with people. If I introduce them to something, they become the people that carry the torch to let the rest of the world know what's going on.
So I think one of the takeaways, if you're a brand or an individual, you can swap reach on Twitter for having more engagement by creating your own social site, because it's a smaller site. It's quote unquote only 40,000 people.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they're highly engaged, where you can have deeper conversations with people and share content with each other.
I mean, it's also small because we have been brainwashed to not have a conversation with a person that you don't really know. Like right now, if I came off the stage and just came and shook any one of your hands, you would do it, shake my hand, but we probably would walk away from each other immediately. Just stand in front of each other and have a conversation is a little weird, right? So it's kind of hard to get people to understand. Like I tell people every day, if you see a conversation that I'm having with someone else on Global 14, just jump in the conversation.
Yeah.
People have no problem doing this when it comes to gossip, but when it's real conversation, they seem to shy away from it. So I started a couple of things on Global 14, like having the younger world or younger community talk about the presidential debates, right? And if you open, the presidential debates allows people to jump in and just say whatever they want to do. At that point, people won't shy away. They'll say anything. If you say something good about Mitt Romney, somebody will say something crazy about Obama. If you say something crazy about Obama, somebody, they jump in. So I'm trying to let people understand that it's nothing wrong with that. Having conversation and creating a conversation about things that you like and things that you do in this world is basically where I think we should be headed, as opposed to just watching and looking and not knowing where.
So a lot of people join Global 14 because they want to share with Jermaine Dupri, and that's true, that's what happens.
Yeah.
You share content with everybody every day, but I think there's an important distinction to be made in that Jermaine Dupri is actually launching conversations and getting people in the community to talk to each other, such as the forum on the presidential debates that you hosted. Much the same way that Lady Gaga on Little Monsters tries to get conversations going among different members. So I think one of the takeaways is, if you have your own hosted site as a brand, yes, you have permission to talk about yourself and to share meaningful content because people have opted in to be part of your community. But you can also show leadership by sparking conversations among community members as well, as you've done with the presidential debates.
Yes.
You did the same thing earlier this year when the Trayvon Martin incident started to blow up. In fact, before the Trayvon Martin incident was even publicly known, before it was a big news story, through one compelling word on your own activity page, you expressed your anger at what was happening in Florida, and you triggered a very passionate discussion about race, about politics, about the justice system that elevated that story among the Global 14 members before I think most other people were really aware of what was happening. Would you talk a little bit about what happened there?
Well, I mean, I also, this is a learning experience for me more than anything. What I've learned being on the forefront of trying to have a social network as well as a site, period, is to discover that the rest of the sites that claim to be giving information to the youth or young of America they're not really doing it. They're more concerned with the gossip. They're more concerned with, whatever it is, it's not as informational as it's supposed to be. And what I do every morning when I wake up and hit my activity page is try to find as much informational stories that I can feed to this site. And if you take it and do whatever you want to do with it, that's you. And if not, if you don't, then whatever. But this is one of the conversations that I sparked, because I saw this before it was even on the news. I saw it happening, and I'm like, what is this? What type of situation is this? Blah, 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 blah. So I posted this story, and it created, a little bit of conversation. 25 people commented, blah, 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 blah. And then as days went, before it even still hit the news, it was over 100 comments or something like that on the site. And it was like, these things are what I'm more into as I continue to keep going with this site, is to just help and give these kids this information. I think that Global 14, people think of it as a musical site, and we all love music, so it is the thread. I hope everybody in here likes music. If you don't, there's something wrong with you. But I feel like the whole world loves music, and that's the thread that connects people here. But it's much more than that, and I try to show people that that's what I'm interested in. And I feel like I have a duty, because kids actually look up to me and they listen to me, but at the same time, I feel like if you have a site like this, you have to interject some kind of education to the situation, where it's not just me feeding you about the new Jordans that come out and the new music. It still has to, you learn about whatever single Nicki Minaj is putting out, whatever new sneakers Jordan is coming out, whatever Apple's doing, as well as a story like this Trayvon Martin.
So I think one of the takeaways for brands is it doesn't matter whether you're Apple, Intel, or whoever. If you're hosting your own community, you have an opportunity to capitalize on your high profile and tackle some important issues and get people who follow you to talk about these issues. I think that's where a brand can show some leadership through social, is taking on topical issues, as you've done with Trayvon Martin, as well as the political debates. And finally, there's one other, I think, important thing going on with Global 14. You talked about music, and that's you're developing musicians on Global 14.
Yeah. Well, what's happening on Global 14 is that artists are coming and they are figuring out what triggers an actual fan. What I noticed on YouTube, for example, another one of my frustrations, YouTube, I post on YouTube all the time. I use the site 100% of the day. But when I first started using YouTube, you could comment on YouTube, but the person that you commented to, they wouldn't get a notification about the comment or something for a week or two or whatever until they came back to the site. So the conversation about what you were posting was never current or constantly going, right? And then a lot of these kids, they post their music without literature, without us knowing anything about the person, without us knowing anything about where they're from, whatever it is. And they believe that we just listen to the music. So I had to educate them on even posting music. When you post your music, write literature about what the song is about. Give us some kind of literature so that we know what we're about to listen to, should we even listen to it, blah, 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 blah. And one of the people that actually got this more than anybody was this 13-year-old girl, Destiny. She actually took this and ran with it and really started posting her music, but she actually started talking to the people that would listen to the music. And as you saw it grow, she has become one of the people that people constantly want to hear music from, listen to, follow her career. And she learned how to build an actual fan base inside Global 14. And I actually have put the light on her inside the site to make other artists talk to her and find out exactly what she did to create that interest. Because I actually said it, but I don't know exactly what I was talking about. I mean, I was just telling them that they should do it, but I don't know the words. Let me say, I don't know the words to say, hey, check me out and listen to me. So she found out what that was. She also had a good couple of songs. But like I said, more or less than anything, it's still communication. And I think that we have lost communication in social networking, and we have become a social notifying world as opposed to actual networking and communication. And that's what Global 14, I hope, brings back to the marketplace.
So I think a big takeaway, if you're a brand, so we hear Jermaine Dupri, he's gone from sharing content about himself to getting members of his community to talk to each other, and now you're getting members of the community to share their content onto the site. So there's a lot of artistic creation occurring on Global 14. You have a lot of underground hip hop and R&B artists who are finding Global 14 to be the platform to create and share their content with each other. So I think it's an interesting arc from content sharing to sparking a conversation among the community to actually having your community be the source of the great content on your site. So one final point is how you're building visibility and awareness for Global 14. It's a very unusual way working with iCrossing. It's great to have iCrossing's name on a slide. I won't lie to you, but really the reason I've got this slide up here is that we're doing something that's very different. Rather than exchange money with each other or exchange advertising with each other, we're co-branding by co-creating ideas. So we believe that the future of marketing is co-branding through idea co-creation. So for instance, earlier this year, iCrossing and Jermaine Dupri put together a video series on how to be a killer creative, how to thrive on social media. And for us, that is what building a brand is all about. The video series gave Jermaine Dupri more access to our clients who are CMOs of major brands, and it also helps iCrossing build our reputation for creativity, which is really important as we evolve from a search agency to a full services agency. So I think that's a really big lesson for you. If you want to build your brand, find a partner and co-develop ideas together. Don't focus on exchanging money, exchange value. So we believe that the future of marketing is about not exchanging money, but exchanging value. And that's how brands are built now.
There are times when you're on a site and it's just okay.
And there's a time when you're on a site and it feels like family.
Global14.com feels like a family.
One thing about family is we might have our disagreements.
You may even fall out.
But family will come back together and work things out.
We might even be interested in different things, but we support each other.
We may have different beliefs and backgrounds,
But we can come together and laugh.
And have fun with each other.
The Global 14 community is the reason why
Log on as much as I do.
Everyone has made a part of my life.
It's been void-filled.
Thank you for all your support.
No matter what you all do, I have your back.
together.
We make Global 14.
Beautiful place to be.
Global 14.
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 Global14.com.
I just want to let everybody know that those people in that video or commercial or whatever that is are all people from the site that I actually connected to on the site and asked them to come to my studio and film this. And I feel like that's that's even a better hand to show you what I'm talking about of the connecting, because these people probably have never spoken to any other CEO of any other social network ever. And I'm thinking that probably won't ever happen again, but I feel like this is what I do, and that's what the beginning of Global 14 is. So thank you.
Thank you.